Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Common Sense Academy. Today, we're going to look at a video mashup made by Van Bayon. Thank you very much, Van Bayon, of some sovereign citizens who were stopped by the police, and the police, due to safety reasons, decided to handcuff a child. I'm going to break down some of the sovereign citizen nonsense that occurs here, and I'm also going to talk about handcuffing a child for safety reasons, the legality of it, the reasons for doing it. So thank you very much for joining me. Before we watch this video, please raise your cup, your glass in the air. Many of you come here for the great content, for my great personality, but some of you come here just for the same time sip. So raise your cup, your glass in the air. It tastes better when we sip together. Cheers. All right, let's watch this vid by Van.
Story in which a 10-year-old girl was handcuffed during a traffic stop on 104. Rochester police say it was for her own safety. Her mother says it was uncalled for. Well, the mother also claims she and her family are sovereign citizens. Jack Watson found out that label comes with a history.
Well, there are two questions hanging over this story. One, were police justified in handcuffing that 10-year-old girl? The other involving a much larger question about a group that believes it can act with impunity.
I don't think that handcuffing a child is something that we should do.
That's the Rochester mayor today speaking about the incident. On your screen now is Facebook video of the encounter she's talking about. Those in the car stopped for having no front license plate and an expired inspection call themselves sovereign citizens. Those in what's called the sovereign citizen movement say they're not bound by laws. Local attorney Mike Berger says there's a specific set of circumstances that prevent someone from being held.
There are exceptions where someone can't be detained if they have diplomatic immunity, and that's by treaty with other countries, and there are good policy reasons underlying that.
But police determined this group did not have diplomatic immunity.
Let me stop right there. To even consider that these sovereign citizens had diplomatic immunity is in and of itself absurd, okay? A lot of, after doing my research for my upcoming book, I saw a lot, the Moorish sovereign citizens like to make this argument, right? They like to argue that they are Moroccan, they are from Morocco. You'll even see in this video, the woman says that she's not African or that she's not black, that she's Moroccan, okay? Diplomatic immunity is reserved for diplomats from other sovereign recognized nations, all right? And even diplomatic immunity doesn't necessarily stop the police from detaining or arresting someone, though it makes it much, much more difficult. I don't know if any of you remember from Lethal Weapon 2 with the guy who says, I have diplomatic immunity, and then Riggs goes and like shoots him. Yeah, I always get a kick out of that. These sovereign citizens do not have diplomatic immunity, even though that's one of their arguments. And it's kind of hilarious because it made it onto the news.
Berger also says police can put the cuffs on a child if there's a safety risk. Police say there was one and that the child was getting too close to the roadway. Rochester Police Union President Mike Mazzio says officers were doing their jobs.
The officers did everything they could at a split second. There's no order. There's no policy. There's nothing that you can put in place that shows these officers did anything wrong.
Still ahead for this, the New York Civil Liberties Union wants the Rochester Police Accountability Board, which no longer has disciplinary powers, to investigate this incident. We reached out to the PAB to see if they would, and we haven't heard back yet. In our mobile studio, Jack Watson, News 8.
All right, Jack, thank you. Meanwhile, RPD Chief Laurent Singletary is also asking for a preliminary review of this case.
Now, you will see, if you do some research, police have been handcuffing children forever, and there are good reasons for it, right? If you were at an active crime scene, number one, the person committing the crime may be aggressive, may have weapons, all right? 99% of the time, if the police are taking a child, placing them somewhere, it is for the safety of the own child and everybody else involved. The police have to be able to investigate, and they don't need to be worrying about a child. Now, I understand it seems like handcuffing can be an extreme thing. I would say, you know, if they can just put the child in the back seat of a car without handcuffing that person, fine. But if the child, even if a child is is punching, kicking, screaming, being violent, breaking things, hitting things, handcuffing may be the only choice.
Yes. This is Aquila Sabrinel Bay, appropriate persona, juris, appropriate solo, appropriate heredis at all times. And at this point in time, all rights are reserved. I am in the city of Rochester, New York, and my children had just been pulled over. My son, who was traveling and who was under the diplomat immunity under file number 213-04991-JFW-BVK, document 20, which we're recognized under the federal government of the More American Council. And they put my 10-year-old in handcuffs because she didn't have ID on her. And then when they attempted to grab her, she started screaming and she was scared. I'm being very calm right now, and I don't want to be belligerent with anyone, but I'm so sick and tired of being harassed, intimidated by the city of Rochester's police department, threatening to kick in my door, threatening to take my children, trying to take my home, constantly harassing us because we want to declare who we want to be and we no longer want to be part of their society. And they telling us they know who we are and we ain't trying to hear or talk. It has nothing to do with talk. You will respect the nationality. You will respect our creed. You will respect who we are. And we are not black people. We are human beings. And God gave us dominion. And when you want to take our dominion, we have the right to fight for our lives. LAH.
Just because you don't want to be part of a society anymore doesn't mean you can just do that, okay? If you live within the territorial boundaries of a country, you have to follow that country's laws. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The only way to get true sovereignty is to go buy your own island, buy your own piece of land, start your own country. But let me tell you, it's not that easy. There are things that need to be taken into account beyond your own selfish reasons for not wanting to be involved. I recognize that there is injustice with the police and there can be injustice with things like child youth services. I see it all the time. All right. But you can't just opt out of it just because you want to. These claims of diplomatic immunity are just absurd. And let me just say, violence is never the answer. You'll see later in the video, they go and they peacefully protest. Look, if you have an issue, no matter what your political issue is, the answer is to peacefully protest, okay? That's one great way to get recognized, to get help, to get support, is to peacefully protest. Violence is never the answer.
Okay. So I'm standing there.
She is right there.
Yep.
And what's your phone number, Aquila?
I can be reached at, hold on one second, because I see them trying to get my information here. Nicole, go over there and get the number to reach. Hello? You okay, baby? Oh, your wrist is hurting? Yeah, ooh. Ooh. That's a liability right there. Y'all see? No, don't worry about taking no pictures. We're gonna do that. Yeah, good. I'm just letting you know. These is the people that kidnapped my child right here. Lieutenant Merkelingen. What's your name? What kind of name is that? Is that German? Merkelingen, is that a German name? Merklinger. Merklinger. Okay. Officer Merklinger. What's his badge number? Because why he don't want to give that up?
Well, we'll give it a Merk.
Oh, I would like it. Well, who are you?
Sergeant Gonzalez, badge number 1829. And you are?
I'm Aquila.
Okay, my name is Sergeant Gonzalez, badge number is 1829.
1829. Sergeant Gonzalez. 535 for Merklinger. And then yours is?
Sergeant.
Sergeant. And what's your badge number?
It's Sergeant.
He's a sergeant too. He just gave me a badge number.
We have numbers 2222.
2222.
They know who Sergeant Collins is.
No, I would like that information for myself. I know. I hear you. It was very cooperative. I was asking him because you did it with ease. I appreciate it. So, anyways, now what? No, we're not all set because you have my other daughter and my son, and then my husband.
Under arrest right now.
Why are they under arrest?
For obstructing governmental administration.
Okay, now in order to obstruct it, what was the crime?
They wouldn't get out of the vehicle, and we asked them many times.
Okay, so now, are you aware that we have a trust already set up, and they're all under the trust? Our private property is under trust. I understand you'll be receiving a maritime lien because you have violated, and you are liable for all charges. And we charge for every second that you hold them. We charge for every hour. It's going to be $500,000. I'm just trying to give you all the fees so you know. For any fingerprints, it's $500,000 for an hour. For fingerprints is $1 million for each finger, okay? Pictures is $1 million. I'm just letting you know that's your fee schedule, okay? All right. Thank you for accepting. All right. You have a good day too.
Rochester's police.
She put a maritime lien on them, and she said at the end there, "Thank you for accepting." I don't believe that they accepted, ma'am. Just because you have a trust and you throw words like lien out there doesn't make it so. And again, I caution any sovereign citizen from sending out these fake liens or these fake invoices. The courts are not tolerating it any longer. They are putting you in jail for these types of things. They can damage the people that you place them against. With the badge number, I think it's just best for the police to just give the badge number. If they ask for the name and badge number, just give it. Just deflate that type of situation immediately. What we had here, it appears to me, was a vehicle stop. Then the police gave the orders for the people to get out. They didn't want to get out. They didn't want to cooperate. At that point, if the police gave lawful orders, they are committing some sort of crime and they can be detained and arrested. Now, if the stop was unlawful in the first place, you can file motions and have that case dismissed, okay? My point is, it is always best to cooperate. You don't need to give statements to the police. I don't advise giving statements to the police or consent for searches, but you have to cooperate with otherwise or with orders given by the police. If the police say get out of the vehicle, you get out of the vehicle. If the police say get into their vehicle, you get into their vehicle, okay? Again, you don't have to give them information that they can necessarily use. Some states have stop and ID, so give your name, okay? Give them your ID card, and that's it. Don't give them any other information. If you do that, you're protecting yourself and complying with the law. By resisting the lawful orders, you're putting yourself at greater legal liability. If the police are doing something wrong, comply now and sue them later. Comply now and sue them later. So much could be avoided in this country if that's what people did. Not to say that some cops in some situations are very terrible and tragic and the police are completely wrong, okay? But comply now, sue later.
Police chief says one of its officers' actions is under review tonight after the handcuffing of a 10-year-old at a traffic stop. The video of that incident was put up on social media. It's been making the rounds. The child's mother calling for justice in this case. Christian Garzone reports the police chief says this was done for the child's safety.
Police Chief Laron Singletary says this was part of a regular traffic stop on Route 104. The car had a missing front plate and the inspection sticker had expired in 2018. The chief says officers were trying to protect the 10-year-old girl. Officers say the child kept running towards oncoming traffic on Route 104. The police chief says the 10-year-old girl was handcuffed primarily for safety reasons. The mother of the girl still wants justice and claims the harassment from police since they become sovereign citizens means they don't believe in American laws.
But for someone to arrest a 10-year-old and take her to jail because she's scared and put handcuffs on her and hurt her wrists and, too tight, she was screaming.
The 10-year-old was asked a few times by the officer to get out of the roadway for everyone's safety. As cars were traveling down the expressway, the 10-year-old during the encounter began to pull away from the officers. And based on the information I have right now, the officer at this point made a decision to handcuff the 10-year-old to assist in controlling the actions of the 10-year-old and for the safety of all involved.
The chief says the girl was not actually sent to jail, as the mother says, and the claims of sovereignty turned out not to be true. They were arrested for obstructing governmental administration and vehicle and traffic charges, some with resisting arrest.
So if you saw her name along the ticker there, you can go back and take a look at it. It said Empress Laquila the Sovereign El Bey. I just got a kick out of the name there. And then this newscaster says that the claims of sovereignty turned out to be not true. Well, no shit. I mean, no, we knew that. We knew that, right? We knew that. Okay.
From Rochester, Christian Garzone, News 8. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Christian, thank you. An internal investigation into the officer's actions is underway per protocol.
My name is Jeffrey Rogers, giving you Rochester news. Right now, I am on North Clinton Avenue at one of the police stations in Rochester where a 10-year-old girl was taken to after a traffic stop. Now, behind me, you can hear they're chanting, "No justice, no peace." Some say that there should be disciplinary actions taken towards the officer.
Look, this is the responsible and correct way to oppose something that you don't believe in, is to go and protest in a public place in a safe and peaceful manner. I totally approve of this protest. I don't necessarily approve of the subject matter or what they're protesting, but the protest itself. This is how you do it.
That she was handcuffed, taken away from a scene in the back of a police car was more troubling to me. And if it was an adult issue, it should have rested with the adults and not displaced on a child who was voiceless and could not defend herself readily.
Do you think the city should have responded in a different way?
Yes, I do, because I believe that if it was their 10-year-old daughter, cousin, niece, that it would have evoked a different response. It would have been an immediate need for the why. There would have been an immediate reasoning for why the cams that we paid so much money for the cops, they weren't on at the time conveniently. So I do. I think it would have been handled differently. And I think it should not be contingent on the who. It's what's right. That's what my father, Minister Florence, and Minister Franklin Florence has always taught me. It's not who's right, it's what's right.
How do you think the police chief should respond?
I think that the chief should have given us a more detailed explanation on the what and the why.
The mother also commented as well. We got an interview with her as well. And she also says that this is unacceptable and something should be happening.
This is an interesting format here. I don't know what GSL is. This guy, Jeffrey Rogers, or kid, I don't know how old he is. But he's kind of just going out doing his own newscast, maybe puts this on social media. Like, I totally dig it as a format for getting your message out. I truly do.
Well, one, I'm very disgusted that someone would really, I feel like it was human trafficking, kidnapping, valid excuse to take them in custody. It was one thing. When I on the scene for the surgeon to say to me, he asked me, was I the mother? And I said, yes. And he said, yeah, I know who you are. And I said, really? He said, everything about you. For a person to tell you that they know everything about you, that means it sounds like you're trying to target somebody. And
I sort of agree with her partially there. Here's the truth of the matter is that police in areas are going to get to know people if they encounter them over and over again. The police probably knew that she claimed sovereign citizenship. But the police, they should not be enunciating that to the people that they are investigating. I agree that that's improper. I mean, the person is, that's something, look, you go about your job in a professional manner without saying things like that. You and your fellow officers are getting a beer later on that night. You want to talk about it. You want to joke about it. Fine. But to say those things while you're investigating is a bit improper. It's not a huge deal, but it's not a good thing.
And I just want justice here. I told them they were going to be liable for this, and I want the liability to be taken care of. I want remedy for the crimes that they constantly commit and perpetuate against our people, and especially against my daughter.
you still do you regret arriving on the scene? You think if the police didn't know that you were the mother, they would have treated your daughter better?
No, she was. When I arrived on the scene, she was already being treated horribly. She was in the police car, sitting on her seat with her arms all the way behind her back, screaming and crying. And of course, she wanted to get out because she was scared.
How do you feel about the police personally?
Well, personally, I have a lot of family members who is in law enforcement. Some of them are military. A lot of my family have served the military. Very, very close members of my family have served the military. And so I believe in the law, but what I don't believe is in somebody enforcing their policy, business and political and municipality policies on people and taking liberties and rights and converting them into privileges. That's what I have a problem with.
Now, our viewers, they ask these questions. How do you feel that you think your child handled this inappropriately, screaming, yelling, or you think this was just, a childlike actions?
I think this was just a childlike action. I think anyone who just seen their parents being taken away, their siblings being taken away and being threatened will be wanting to escape from an oppressor, because that's how we look at them, as oppressors. Someone who pulls up on the scene, they're becoming aggressive against you and you're trying not to be belligerent with them. That shows a sign of fear for those group of people. And I feel like they're in our neighborhoods policing us and they are fearful of us, so they mistreat us. And I don't think that is, they should be in this area if they don't have the proper training or they're so scared of us.
Okay. And so
there's more to come on this. I find it hard to believe that someone has respect for the law when they have their own version of the law, such as sovereign citizenship, because the whole concept of being a sovereign citizen undermines the actual law. And it's not up to the individual to decide what's a policy and what's a law, okay? Those are written into the statutes. The law is the law. If you have a problem with the law or certain things, you do what you do and you get out there, you protest, you ask to change the law. I can tell you, though, the laws that the officers were abiding by likely aren't going to be changed because they are reasonable. Now, whether what the officers did was oppression or out of line, I really don't know, because at watching all of these videos, we don't know exactly what went down. Like they said, there's no body cam. There's no video of the exact interaction. So we're never going to really know if they acted reasonably or if they did not act reasonably. But I have a hard time believing a sovereign citizen has respect for the law. On top of that, she wants a remedy, et cetera, et cetera. Well, find an attorney and you file an actual lawsuit. Again, comply with the police and then file a lawsuit later.
So what action do you want done? Hearing from a lot of people here that they want something to happen to these officers. They want some disciplinary actions to happen.
Well, what
are those actions you want to happen? Maybe a suspension or?
Well, I'm holding them full liability. I actually put on my live feed that I ordered a scheduling fee. Anytime anyone holds any members of our tribe, we have a scheduling fee that we charge them since they're doing business, because this obviously was a service that they were providing because they thought that they were handling safety. But because I was there on the scene to actually pick up my child and they refused to release my child to me, I would like to see them no longer in their position.
The child to be released at the traffic stop.
Yes. They should. Yes, that's their protocol. If there's a guardian or something,
did they ask you for any ID?
No ID at all. Even on the video, it was shown when they returned my child to me and they let her out the police car. They didn't ask for ID. My live was going the whole time. They didn't say anything. All they did was say, "See, she's okay." And the only reason why they released her is because people started calling and inquiring why did they have a 10-year-old minor in the precinct in jail in handcuffs.
We also got an exclusive interview with the child as well, and she says she's very traumatized on how she looks at the police department now.
Listen, ma'am, don't hold your breath on the schedule of fees. Don't hold your breath. Go ahead, hire an attorney and sue the police department. That's the way to do it.
feel that the police hurt you?
Yes, I do.
And so, were you like are you traumatized? Are you scared by this situation here?
I'm scared by the situation because how they did it. They just abused us and it felt like kidnapped.
So, like, you said they forced you to say stuff, like, so they were going to take you away?
They said that if I don't tell them my information, that they were going to take me away from my parents, and I felt real scared, so I had to tell them.
So, when they first pulled you over, were they screaming at you, yelling at you?
No.
Did they ask you to get out the vehicle or no?
They asked me to get out the vehicle, and I said no, and it means no.
So when your mother arrived, were you like trying to go to your mother, or?
I was trying to get out the car, but I couldn't because I was in handcuffs.
So, how do you feel about the police now? Are you scared of them?
I'm still trying to get through the process, but I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, and I just want to get through this.
Have people been trying to target you after this, or?
Yes.
What are you doing to them, or saying?
Well, they just looking around for us. And last year, they took us away and put us in foster care, me and my sister.
So when they handcuffed you, were they too tight?
They were too tight.
Now, did the police put their hands on you, like slam you against the car?
Yep, they slammed me against the car and put me in handcuffs behind my back.
The mother also says that she is planning on suing the police department and planning to move protests to different locations that will get their attention. And there's also an investigation going on as well. A statement was released by the police chief, and hopefully the mayor will comment very soon. My name is Jeffrey Rogers, and I'm giving you Rochester News. You're watching GSO Show.
The police have to act to secure a scene when there are multiple actors and people are moving around. It can be extremely difficult for the police to do their job if individuals are not complying with their orders. And I would venture to guess that that is a lot of what happened here. Is the police were trying to secure the scene so that they could complete the investigation. Now, am I on board with handcuffing children when it's not absolutely necessary? Absolutely not. But we would have to see the video to know whether or not the police acted reasonably. What I do know is wrong is claiming sovereign citizenship and sending invoices and schedules of fees to the police after something like this. You want to hire an attorney. You want to do this the right way. I do approve of their method of peacefully protesting. I think that is the way to get out there and make your message heard if you believe that you have been treated in an unjust fashion. Thank you, everybody, for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Joe Palmetto, Joe the lawyer of the Common Sense Academy here. We watch sovereign citizens, First Amendment auditors, and people behaving badly. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It's a free way to support the show. Also, sign up for my email list. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Van Bayon, for putting this great mashup together so we could watch this, get a full understanding of the video all the way through. Have a great day.